everyone, and we are back with Rotary Eclub of One World, and our program today is with a speaker, Claudine Schooley, who became a Rotarian in December 2014 at the Rotary Club of Conejo Valley in Thousand Oaks. 3 years later, she moved from California to Akron, Ohio, where she now lives with her husband and her daughter. And she joined the Rotary Club of Akron. And now we are so lucky to have you, Claudine, as a member of the Eclub of One World. Now, I met you on a fellowship already, so it feels like I know you a little bit. And what is awesome today, Claudine, is that you are going to talk about a global grant in Ukraine where you are passionate about pediatric wheelchairs. And I do not want to discuss it even though I have it in front of me. I want to give you the floor. First of all, Claudine, what made you so passionate about A, Ukraine, and B, pediatric wheelchairs?
Yes, Gabrielle, I hope I could take you with me in Ukraine. You would understand the situation right away. Everything started for me in 2013. I started to go to Ukraine on different missions to help the people who needed wheelchairs. I participated to this distribution of wheelchairs, and I visited an orphanage in Ukraine for kids with disability. And Gabriela, my heart I was so touched. I saw those kids, 8, 10-year-old, in cribs. They didn't have a wheelchair. So those images will stay with me all my life. And I decided I really need to do something for those kids. They need a pediatric wheelchair. So we started to import wheelchairs. This is when I joined my Rotary Club in Conejo Valley. And with Diego Velasquez, we started to work with the Wheelchair Foundation and send containers of wheelchairs to Ukraine. But after sending several containers, the situation was still very difficult for those kids to get wheelchairs. Why? Because the importation of wheelchair is difficult. It's not easy. And we found out with my partner in Ukraine, I will talk later about them, that those kids need a very special wheelchair because the country is not adapted, nothing is adapted for people in wheelchairs. So the wheelchairs they have are not strong enough, they are not foldable, they are too heavy, and we really needed to find a good wheelchair for those kids. And a lot of studies were made, and finally, after all these years, we found a good wheelchair for them. And I'm going to tell you more about this wheelchair. I have a picture to show you, those kids. If you look at the picture, you can see those girls, they have what we call typical wheelchairs. This is a type of wheelchairs they receive in Ukraine from mostly America and other countries in Europe. So right now, there is no real manufacturing or assembling of wheelchairs in Ukraine, in the country. So that was the basic of the project, to be able to manufacture those wheelchairs in the country. The need, as you can imagine, the need is enormous. Thousands of unserved children, they spend most of their life at home, with declining health and posture. There is no domestic production of a product with the feature that the new wheelchair, it's called the Eclub, is going to develop for them. So if you want to look at this wheelchair, we have a YouTube video that I joined. You already have the link. And I want to tell you more about the situation. Now, in part due to the NGO and USAID activities, the government recently began to purchase and have intention to expand the purchase of wheelchairs. So there are no good options right now to fit the government budgeted amount. That's why we decided we need to start assembling those wheelchairs in Ukraine. Our partner, God's Hidden Treasure, it's the name of this company, they moved in Ukraine. They started in about more than 20 years ago. And they started working with people in need of wheelchairs, so they really know the market. They really know the people in need. Then, situation is the current competitors are refurbishing wheelchairs that they send, they brought across the border. And this is not what we want to do. We want to really have this new wheelchair for the kids.
Can I ask you a question, Claudine? Is it
Yes.
because also, I presume there are several reasons, but a refurbished wheelchair, and I know nothing about wheelchairs, but a refurbished one would not really solve your problem because it would still be maybe not foldable, too heavy. Am I seeing that right? Not on the
Exactly.
size of the child? Am I
Yes.
in the right direction here?
This type of wheelchairs, right now in Ukraine, they use, instead of using the pediatric wheelchair, they exist, but they are too expensive. They can't afford it. So instead of using those expensive wheelchairs, the mom, they use some stroller. It's a type of stroller, between a stroller for a baby and a wheelchair. So you can imagine, I remember this kid, he was in a stroller, he was 21 years old. He was in this stroller. So I couldn't believe they are using that. You can imagine the consequences are so bad for their bodies. Another argument, why they need this type of wheelchair. And the mom, they don't know. They don't know better. So they think it's okay to use those type of wheelchair, but it's not okay. And also in our plan, with a global grant, we are planning to educate them. We have a team of specialists who will go to Ukraine and educate them. So we want to make sure they understand exactly what they need to do, with this wheelchair.
And could you give us a reason why disabled children and adults, I presume, are ignored that much by their own government? Is there a reason for it culturally that I do not know?
At the beginning, I would say a long time ago, they would hide the people with disability. Now the situation really evolved in a good sense. Now they are conscious that they need to help, and the government is really conscious now, and that's the reason why they have a budget. And we want to work with them. We want to sell them the wheelchair so they can distribute the wheelchairs in the country. The problem they need more wheelchairs. They don't have enough wheelchairs.
Mm-hmm. What is your biggest obstacle?
The bigger obstacle is to start. We need some money to start, just for the factory. We have the place already. It's in the city of Bilatserkva. God's Hidden Treasure has already a repair center for wheelchairs. So they decided they're going to start at the repair center. Later, if they need to enlarge, they will do it. But now they want to start in their building, and they already have some people working in the repair center. So those people are going to work on the new type of wheelchair, and they're going to be trained. So we're going to train them, we will need to buy a little material to make sure they can assemble those new wheelchairs. And we're going to test those wheelchairs. They were already tested in country, in the city of Lviv, and they had a very good review. So now we're going to make more of those wheelchairs, and we're going to distribute them to get tested before we start any big production. Because as you can imagine, it's a big project. It's a big project. But the NGO also are interested to buy this type of wheelchairs. So, and the wheelchair now exists, the prototype exists for a certain number of years. And we were looking for this prototype for a long time. We had different prototypes, but they are so expensive. We needed to develop a product who was not too expensive, but had all the quality and all the feature, you know, necessary. That right now we are, if we talk about the budget, we are thinking that to start this business, because it's going to be a business, we need about $45,000. So we are trying to be reasonable, and then all the money we're going to generate when we sell this wheelchair will be reinvested in the company to go a little bigger every time. So now we need.
But it is a non-for-profit company, the one in the Ukraine, right?
Yes,
it's a lovely name.
Yes, God's Hidden Treasure. It's a non-profit organization, and they are partnering with another organization who developed this prototype.
Okay.
And their timeline will depend, you know, of the grant. Because when we get the money, we can start working. We can start, and they are envisioning a timeline of starting in June 2021 and work all summer and all autumn. And also something very important, but we know that because we have partners in country, you cannot do some testing in winter, because winter in Ukraine are very cold. There is a lot of snow, so we need to be conscious of all those parameters, you know.
Has COVID been also problematic to test just this summer, July, August?
Yes, fortunately, this wheelchair was tested in 2019, the year before. So that's great, because we already have, you know, some results. We know where we are going. What I can tell you is all the freight, you know, the importation of wheelchairs were kind of stopped with the COVID. So Ukraine didn't receive a lot of wheelchairs this year because of the COVID.
Do you have, by any chance, an American partner that would be interested in helping build the prototype into a real living, breathing product in
yes, we have American partner. I told you the company who developed this wheelchair are sure
they are Americans. Okay, I did not realize.
They are American, and the name of the company it's called Participant. So they're going to work together with God's Hidden Treasure, Participant, and they are hoping to work with the Rotary International, and we will need some help from the Rotary Club.
Do you need help writing the grant? Let's start there.
We certainly will need help writing this grant. We started. We tried to identify everything we need to write this grant, but we will need also a club who will be our host in the United States, and Eclub who will be the host in Ukraine. We are working through the ICC Inter-Country Committee that we developed recently with Ukraine. We are working on the Ukraine side, and I know that right now, Ukraine in Kiev Central, the club is considering. So we have to present the project to them to make sure they want to become our host. And then I'm going to need the support of our district here in California, and I'm hoping to engage the other districts also who are engaged in the ICC. This is a purpose, of the creation of this ICC. In my vision, we should have the Club of California engaged, and 4 more clubs that are part of our ICC. And also, we have 2 more clubs who want to join. And the good thing, Gabriela, is 2 years ago, we started with this project, and we had the ICC from France and Belgium who were interested in helping. They say a project for pediatric wheelchairs, we are interested because we know the need in country, and we want to help you. So I'm hoping to get also the help of those districts in France and in Belgium.
That's amazing. That would be absolutely amazing.
Then the Rotary Foundation, Rotary International Foundation, and the USAID will be part of this grant, because I need to tell you that this is a grant. It's called Arts of Europe. Arts of Europe Global Grant. And I know that in our district, we already have a project with them for, I think it's for Montenegro. So they already know about this type of grant, and they are a little slightly different from a regular global grant. So that's why we need to learn more about this type of grant.
Okay.
And we're going to have a meeting with Ukraine and a presentation to learn more about the type of grant, because there is things I know we cannot do. We need some district money and not club money. So we need to figure out. Yeah.
Okay, so when I hear this, I think that we need to be very clear. So you need someone to help you. We need people that are used to writing grants. We need to speak to potential people within the district. We need to talk to people within our club and on the board of the club. And see how we can make your passionate plea come to fruition.
And Gabrielle, something very important, I want to involve the people in my new club, because I'm not going to do it by myself. By myself, I can't. I really need other Rotarians to be involved in this project.
Need to collaborate.
They're going to love it, because this implies a trip to Ukraine. We're going to visit the hosting Rotary Club in Kiev. We're going to visit the site where the wheelchair will be assembled also. So there is a lot of things we can do.
Absolutely.
And I really need some partners, some people with a passion like me.
Absolutely. Well, Rotary is where passion happens, I have a feeling. So yeah, no, I love what you all said. We are definitely want to know more in detail what you do, but this is a beautiful first introduction. And
Thank you.
what I suggest is that maybe in 2 or 3 months, depending how fast we can move, that we do a continuation of the program today to see where you're at that time, and to see on an international and local level in the US what you need at that moment.
Okay, yes, and I'm preparing also a slideshow, with more information.
I would love to close with two things. I want people to also know that you and I are going to do a double program. So there is another program coming up, and it's not part two of this global grant. And I would love to grant you a minute to say something about that.
Well, the second part of the program, I'm going to talk about ICC inter-country committees and what they do at a district level, because I think it's very important. We have a new ICC who was created with Ukraine, and I wanna let the people know that they can be part of this ICC, and it's a beautiful thing. And also I wanna invite all the people who are interested in those projects and the ICC to be part of the conference in Taipei. This is in June 2021 in Taiwan. I already registered for the conference, and I hope some people from our club will come and register also.
Is it virtual or is it face to face?
It's supposed to be in person.
Ooh la la!
Ooh la la! Yeah, I hope it will be in person.
Why did you become a Rotarian? And again, under 1 minute, if that's possible.
Again, I would say I became a Rotarian because I want to help at an international level. And I know Rotary is a great organization. And by myself, I couldn't do it. I used to work with my church. I used to work with Johnny and Friends, which is an international disability center in California. And I was involved in disability ministry and distribution of wheelchairs, and this is my passion. So I really became Rotarian to do more for the people in need, of wheelchairs.
That is a beautiful thing to end on. So I thank you, Claudine, and we will see you soon in part two on the ICC and everything that it contains. Thank you for doing this and giving me your time.
Thank you, Gabrielle.